Let's understand the linked list and its operation. So linked list is the collections of node. Like this is one node of a linked list where we have the data, like this section is data, and this is the reference, that is next. So this reference will point to the node of the same type. So the list of all such nodes, we call it linked list. And how we can create that? So we need to create one class. Like this is one class node where we have the two data members, that is data and next. And then we have the constructor where we are passing the value, and correspondingly assign this value to this data member, that is data, and the next will be null. So basically when we create the instance of this class, we will create these nodes of the linked list. Like for example, let's say we execute this instruction node, that is the instance of this class node, equal to new node, and we are passing the value as 26. So basically this value will pass to the constructor of this class, and correspondingly we assign this value 26 to the data, and the value of next will be null. So what will happen? It will create a node where this instance, that is this instance, will point to this node, and it is having a data as 26, and next will be null because we are assigning the next equal to null. Similarly, let's say we execute another instruction node1 equal to new node, and we are passing the value as 33. It means we create a node1 will point to that particular node where the data is 33, and of course the next will be null because we are assigning the next as a null. Whenever we create the instance of this class, we will call this constructor and assign the value of it. Now let's see few more instructions. Like for example, let's say if I execute node.next equal to node1. So this is my node1 and this is my node. Node.next is null right now, and node1.next is also null. Now what we are doing here is node.next is equals to node1. So now node.next will point to this node, which is node1. So that's what this instruction is doing. Now let's say we run this instruction node equal to node.next. So node is right now pointing to this particular node, and this is my next. So its next is pointing to node 1. So when we do node equal to node next, now node and node 1 will start pointing to the same node, which is this one, that is 33. So that's what this node equal to node next will do. So let's say we create another node, that is new node 45. So we create another node, that is this one, where we have the value as 45, and node.next will be start pointing to this new node. So currently node is pointing to this specific node, that is 33, and node 1 is also pointing to the same node, that is 33. Now when we do node.next, the node is right now pointing here, its next is right now null. Now this null will replace with the reference of this node, that is the newly created node, and here the data member is 45, and this is of course null. Now let's see how we can create the doubly linked list. So this is my single linked list where we have the data and the next, and these are the set of nodes which create the single linked list. Now we'll see the doubly linked list. So in case of doubly linked list, this is the single node of a doubly linked list where we have the data, and then we have the two references, that is previous and next. These references will point to the node of the same type. So if we select all such nodes, then it will become the doubly linked list. So we have the data, previous and next. So let's see how we can create this single node in a doubly linked list. So in this case also, we have to create one class. Now in this case, we have the three data members. In this case, we have the two, that is data and next. Now in doubly linked list, we have data, previous and next. And in the constructor, we are passing the value which will be assigned to this data, and correspondingly this previous and next will be null. So let's say we create the instance of this class. So node equal to new node, and here we are passing the value as 26. It means we pass this value to the constructor of this class and it will assign this value to this data. So basically we'll create a node, that is this node, and this node, that is the instance of this class node, will start pointing to this node, that is a doubly linked list node, where the previous is null, the next is null, and the data is 26. Now let's create another node. So node1 equal to new node 33. So what will happen? We have the instance, that is node1, which is pointing to the this particular node where we have the data as 33, previous is null, and next is also null. Now let's do some operation in this particular two nodes. Let's say we execute this instruction, that is node1 dot previous equal to node. So if you see here, the node 1 previous is null, node 1 next is also null. Now we execute node 1 dot previous equal to node. So node 1 dot previous will start pointing to this node, that is this node. So now after this instruction, this previous will start pointing to this node where node is right now pointing. And let's say we execute this instruction, that is node dot next equal to node 1. So node 1 is right now pointing to this node and node is pointing to this particular node. Now node dot next is right now null, but node 1 dot previous is right now pointing to this particular node. Now if I execute node dot next equal to node 1, then node dot next will start pointing to node 1, that is this particular node. Now let's create another node. So I'll create another node, that is node 2. So we create the instance of this class node, which is node 2, where we have the data as 45. So basically it will call the constructor, and here we pass the value as 45. The previous and next is will be null. So the previous and next is null here. And now we execute this instruction. So this is my node 1, node 1 dot previous, node 1 dot previous, it means this particular node, because its previous is pointing to node. And then we are calling dot previous again, it means previous of this particular node, which is null right now. So at this particular location we specify node 2, it means in this particular reference, which is right now null, we start pointing to the node 2, that is this particular node. So now after this instruction, node 1 dot previous is equals to node 2, it means node 1 previous, and it's also the node 1 previous dot previous will start pointing to this node 2. So that's how some of the basic operations that happens in linked list and doubly linked list.